Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Here in Pennsylvania today, really excited about the interview today and got some cool guys along with me. We'll start with Bill, and then we'll come around this way and everybody get a chance to introduce herself. Bill, go ahead. Who are you and what do you do, sir?
I'm Bill Hartman. I'm one of the owners of W.E.H Supply. And I'm actually kind of on my way out, but the next generation's taking over.
Very good.
Yep.
And then William
T. So Bill's son. Been here, I don't know, 26 years, something like that.
You can pull that mic into a little if you want.
Okay.
Adjust it to wherever it's comfortable for you.
Yeah. I kind of been in all avenues of the company, even warehouse, truck delivery, trying to think, and then eventually wound up in sales and worked in that for a number of years, and now trying to be in charge of sales and run that thing. And yeah, so that's my story. The company's been around as long as I'm alive. I always remember it. So
there you go. Nice. And then we got Shane.
Yeah, I'm Shane Hartman, completing the Hartman group here.
I'll pull it in just a little.
Yeah. My role here is president. Like Bill, I've been in, over the years, about every aspect of the company as we've grown. Times have really changed, and we're on a great path here in 2023.
No, that's great. And then Keegan, we'll get to you here in just a little bit. So Bill's going to talk with us for a bit, and then he's the only working guy here, I think, maybe among us. He's going to go back to work while we all get to sit here and goof around and have these conversations. I appreciate you guys being on the show. For one, WEH is it's a name that I recognized very early in the industry as I got to know it. Always heard such good things about your company, and I thought it was just cool to be able to shed a light, no pun intended, kind of on what you guys do here. Bill, you're like the patriarch here. I definitely see you as the father figure here, and it sounds like you got a lot of history with the WEH. A lot of sellers listen to the show, manufacturers, haulers. Let's talk a little bit about WEH Supply and how it came to be.
Well, in 1979, we opened up W.E.H Supply, my father and myself. And a few years later, my brother joined us, actually when he graduated high school. And then a few years after that, my third brother joined us, and it was all three of us. And basically, that's who WEH was. It was just the three Hartman boys and my father. There's been some challenging times. I mean, in 1979, the country went into a recession that lasted 3 years. Interest rates climbed to around 22% or something like that. You couldn't give a house away. And when we started, we were in manufactured housing. So to say sales were lean is a little understatement. My father and I used to kind of argue over whose turn it was to answer the phone because he got the last one this morning, and I wanted to answer the next one. But we started in the beginning. We used to make deliveries with a station wagon. And honestly, right before things turned around in like 81, 82, I remember and these are the things that kind of make the company what it is, I think. But I remember my father selling his personal vehicle to pay an invoice. And, so we were down there, Things were tight.
That's powerful.
And to go through that, it's not something that you ever forget.
Or plan on.
Yeah, for sure.
mean, we to this day, we probably run such a tight ship just because of those kind of things. You know, you just can't get over that. Now, obviously, things have changed quite a bit since those days.
Yes. Well, you'll sell Williams before you'll sell yours this time around,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay, very good. Or Keegan, either way. Shane might
anybody's.
throw his up. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
So you know, my job with the company was driving truck,
Okay.
and my youngest brother was the vice president at the time while my dad was still alive, and my father passed away in 1986, and kind of left us really not knowing what to do, because he had always been everything. You know, he ran the thing, and it was all in his head. But we managed to just kind of let things go the way they were. We just kind of coasted.
Well, in that time, it was the manufactured housing.
Yes, we were strictly.
Okay.
So understand, we're not even in shed industry at that point.
Okay.
We're strictly manufactured housing, but then, you know, a few years goes by and we finally made a couple decisions and we changed some things on our own, which really left us feeling pretty good about ourselves, that we were able to make changes to the company and they were successful. So it kind of gave us some positive feelings that we maybe knew what we were doing a little bit anyway. So then, as time progressed, I had a window in my office that I'd sat there for years, literally probably 7-8 years. And a friend of mine stopped in one day, and he had dabbled with the shed industry a little bit, and he seen that window, and he said, "How come you're not selling that to the shed industry?" He said that they use those 1823 jealousy window everywhere. And I said, "Yeah, but they're buying direct from a manufacturer, and I don't think there'd be room for a distributor in between." And, you know, he said, "Man, I don't know if that window was sitting in my office. I think I'd do something with it." So I talked to my brother. We decided we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take the window around and just show it to some of the local guys that I knew built sheds. And I did. And the very first place I went was the Stolzfus Woodworking over on
Newport Road.
Yeah, Newport Road. And he loved it. Gave me an order for 200 windows, like, instantly.
There you go.
And I was like, well, wait, let me check my calculations here on my pricing, because I wasn't sure. Well, maybe I messed up, you know. But no, I was right. And so he ordered windows, and then he proceeded to ask me if I knew of Sam at B&B. And I said, "No, you're my first call." So literally, that is exactly how it went. It went from one builder, they sent me to the next builder.
Yeah.
They sent me to the next builder, and we moved through Lancaster County just that way. One guy telling me to go talk to the next guy, going to talk to the next guy, and my supplier was extremely happy with that. You know, we were at one point buying maybe 2 tractor trailer loads of 1823s.
Nice.
I mean, it was incredible. And then basically we decided we didn't really decide, but we decided we wanted to, and that, you know, would have been in the early 90s. So we decided that we were going to, we found a few products that I thought were problems in the industry.
Okay.
So we went ahead and we developed a few things that were different than the way they were currently doing it, to solve issues. One of which was a door handle that was really not working very well, and the handle that we came out with would work no matter what. If the shed got a little out of whack, it didn't matter. the building would settle and the handle would still work. And it just kind of went from that to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And, we had shutters that we sold to the RV industry and the mobile home industry. Well, they were perfect for the shed industry. And just the product after product that we had, we would pick up new products. I remember we were selling basically the jealousy window, and I was working with Dan Olgeier at the and I don't know if I'm supposed to drop names like that.
At the barnyard.
Yeah, at the barnyard.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And Dan was a good friend, and he was buying so many vinyl windows. I just was blown away by it. One day I said to Dan, I'm like, I did not realize that you guys built that many buildings that were insulated. And he said, well, we don't. I'm like, what do you mean you don't? I said, you're buying 40, 50, 60 windows a week. And he says, well, that's because we're putting vinyl siding on them, and we love that J channel. And I was like, oh, and the light bulb went off, and I said, well, you're going to love what I bring you next week. So the following week, I brought him an aluminum window with a J channel, which was about maybe 20% the cost of the vinyl window. And he looked at it, and he's like, wow. He said, that's what I need. And I'm like, dude, that's what I'm here for. He goes, yeah. He said, I just got one question. Why would you show me that window when it's going to cost you money? Because I'm now not going to buy all those vinyls from you. And I'm like, that's
the more expensive window.
Yeah.
So I cost us money or sales by selling him a lesser expensive window. But I told him, I said, it's because you're my friend, and my job is to make sure that you guys are competitive.
Have what you need.
And buying what you need.
Obviously, he followed up with that quickly by saying, this is what I need. This is what I've been looking for. You became a resource to him.
A Ferrari engine in a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah,
right.
Which is exactly what it was. It just wasn't necessary. So, and those kind of things have happened over and over and over.
And what I love, one of my favorite things is, and I know the audience might not be able to see this, for those of you on YouTube, you can. There's a stack here of like every one of your brochures that you've put out. And you guys were telling me a story beforehand. When I look through this brochure, you see some pretty basic elements to the shed industry, some windows, some vents, some gable vents, and maybe flower boxes, shutters, barrel bolts, and things like that.
And you got to understand, like, looking at those pictures in there, those items pretty much were mostly non-existent in the shed industry. Not all of them, but like a good amount of them. I mean, people weren't doing the vinyl flower boxes or
right.
Yeah,
the bumpers, the door bumpers.
When Furnace Road was one of the first guys in Lancaster County to put vinyl siding on a building, and to build just vinyl sided buildings, I stopped in there a couple times a week. Just when I was driving by, I would stop because I was making deliveries at the same time. So I'm driving the big truck around, and I stopped in a couple times. And one day he says, he says, I need something for a bumper, because he had a big hole in the siding where the key from the key lock went back and hit the vinyl siding, knocked a hole in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll see what I can find for you. So I went back and looked around our shop, and I found we manufactured a patio door, and that door had a really wide bumper, and it stood out pretty far. So I put it against the wall and checked with a T-handle to see if it would hold the door far enough away, and it did. So I took it down and showed it to him, and he's like, perfect. He said, that's what I need. So he put 2 on the building, and from that point on, that became like the standard. and so it's just kind of cool to see things. And honestly, that bumper to this day is still used, not as much as it had been. We've also come out with other bumpers since then, and some other sources have come out with bumpers as well.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just kind of neat.
One of the cool stories is the shed that's on your very first brochure. This is how we do things in the shed industry, right? You use what resources are available until growth continues, and you actually, this is a shed that you purchased in your own yard.
Yep.
So that was what was readily available to go on the brochure. I mean, and your brochure since then is, 60, 70 pages, and this is a simple bifold.
Yeah.
130.
130. Well, never said I was good with numbers. But just the amount of, this is a legacy. I mean, you always think about what you want to leave behind to the next generation. And my conversation, 2 podcasts happened here today that people didn't see, the one we're doing here on the air and the one we had beforehand. And the reason I say that's because it's just a conversation that's you find out about faith, family, and all kinds of other things. And that's really what makes up the industry. People purchase from people they trust, right? And being able to try and build that trust and relationship. And Bill, you're like someone that I would look at and see that I could look up to as a relationship builder, because you're obviously that. You've done that. You've put in the work, and then you're teaching that. You're showing that to the next generation.
Well, I do ask the good Lord virtually every day, why us?
Mm-hmm.
What did we don't deserve the blessings that we get. We're just men. We put on our pants one leg at a time,
Yep.
Yep. And we're not anything special, but we feel as if there was a purpose, and that there's still a purpose, and we try to help our employees. We try to help our friends. We try to help anybody in this industry, and we feel like we do what we're led to do. And if we have the resources to do that because of the business that we do, that's great. And if not, then we'll just have to dig into our own pockets, or we'll
Start selling cars, huh?
Start selling cars, or just find the time ourselves to try to help in some way, shape, or form. Yes.
No, that's good. Well, I appreciate what you've built here. The podcast is about more than just getting on and talking about your business. It's about people. It's the people business. It's more than just sheds, and literally and figuratively more than just sheds at this point. But we talk about how the shed meets the mobile home, how it meets the tiny home, how it meets
manufactured housing,
like all of these different things that are. It's very big. It's very broad, and the shed for me seems to be the common denominator, and all of that. But salute to you, sir. It's a beautiful facility, and I can see the leadership qualities that have come out of you over the years, and people respect that. What do you feel like the shed industry has meant to you as a supplier? What's some of the biggest surprises that's come out of your life in connecting with some of these people in the shed industry?
I would say the absolute joy in being in business. When we were in just manufactured housing, we had customers that had filed bankruptcy. It seemed like every other week. Sometimes it'd be the same guy, or same 2 companies, or same whatever. And it kind of restored your faith in humanity, in the fact that people are good. People, I'll tell this story and then I'll stop with the stories. But
I love them, man. I love them. Go ahead.
We had a fellow that was building buildings here in Lancaster, and he moved out western part of the state. And over time, slowly got further and further behind with his payables, and eventually he just couldn't pay us anymore. And we never did really like cut him off or anything like that. We were pretty good about that stuff.
Working with him.
We work with anybody and everybody. When he finally just said, look, I got to shut my business down. And he says, I'm really, really sorry about owing you this money. And he said, that he's been working with his church and they're trying to figure something out. And no place else in America would this stuff happen, but with the shed industry, where he went to work and would send us a check once a week, once a month, whenever he could, for $50, $100, trying to pay his debt back, because he said he just didn't want to take advantage of us. And I never called him. I wasn't like sending him statements all the time. And finally he paid it off. And then he sent me a letter with the final check and said, could you please let me know what I owe you for interest? And I just said, no, listen, there is no interest. I said, I appreciate you. And I said, if there's ever anything that we can do, we want to do it for you. And, to this day, he is every now and then talk to us about different things he was doing, different businesses he was getting into or whatever, but kind of remained friends for a long time after that. Yeah. So, it's just that kind of thing that, like I say, it just restores your faith in humanity.
I'd like to just jump on that.
Yeah,
and
go for it.
The big difference in where we learned early is the manufactured housing. The customers were customers. The shed industry taught us really quick that they're not customers; it's a relationship, and that's just held true to this day. And I think that's who we are now. We still sell manufactured housing, and we've changed a little bit who we are over the years very quickly after we got into the shed industry. And we always talk about just how blessed we are to be in this industry for countless reasons, and that being a priority, and the relationships that we've built, the friendships that we have, it's been incredible. Not many people get to experience this type of business.
Oh, I think that's right. William, I was going to say, go ahead.
I was just thinking here, I guess something kind of hit me, and I guess I've thought about it over the years, but maybe never we really said it, but where service meets quality, I mean, the root word there is serve. Mm-hmm. You can play off a servant, and I guess over the years, Dad, we've learned to operate under a servant's heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing. Even though we've not intentionally said that, but I guess that's really the root of it.
Yeah.
The business operating under that, kind of playing off that servant's heart or service kind of.
Well, it says a lot you're in sales, you lead the sales team here, and that the answer to sales is service, right? It's and I think it might have been Leon Martin that was on the show, and I quote this often. He said, everything you do before the sale is for the sale, but everything you do after, what's that for? That's to make sure the customer's taken care of. And I think that's where people really shine when you're in the customer service industry, is what do you do after you don't have anything to benefit from it other than maybe long-term relationship. I think it's great. Bill, I think you've done a great job. The facility's beautiful. Obviously, like I said, you've got a team around you that has grown up to see that. And I don't know, you have to ask yourself that question a lot from time to time. Lord, why me? Why me on this or in this moment or whatever it is? And I've done that at times where I've been blessed, but I've also done that in times of struggle. And one of my favorite motivational speakers is Les Brown. He says, "Why not you when you're going through a struggle? Why anybody else? Who would you choose?" Matter of fact, most of them are glad it's you. So why not me? And it's been hard to figure that out at times in moments of success and moments of failure, but you've done a great job. What does, I guess I should just ask this question because I don't know the answer to it. What does WEH actually stand for?
That was my father's initials. He was his name was William E. Hartman.
Awesome.
And we were trying to. I remember sitting around sitting out at his house, and we were trying to determine what we were going to name our new company that he decided he wanted to do. And I don't know. I don't remember if it was my mom or it was me.
So that would be Nanny Joanne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because it wouldn't be fair to not mention her.
Yeah, for sure.
She's still living?
She's still is.
Nice.
And still comes in and gives the guys a hard time once in a while.
Good. Good.
But, she, and in any case, she said, "I think we ought to name it WEH Supply." She goes, "Because you're the reason that we're going to do this." So
What a testimony.
Well,
to
then
your
he
father.
started playing with the logo, right? Wasn't it his off the Lincoln or something?
Yeah, if you look at the logo, it's a hood ornament off a Lincoln Continental.
Nice.
He loved cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It
great.
looks like it.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
very similar.
think about the dynamic of that. I mean, he sold his car to pay the invoice,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, he loved cars. I mean, just that alone is a powerful statement.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I'm gonna move toward William. Hey, who knows? Maybe we do a second round on this thing. We haven't even got into product yet, so we want to start talking about some different things about that in the industry. Maybe get Keegan on here. But Bill, appreciate you, sir, and being a leader to show the rest of us how to do it, and just kudos.
Thank you.
To you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you,
You
for
bet.
sure.
Take care.
Yeah, we'll get Keegan on here because he can maybe give me a whole lot of hard time about me forgetting to bring a Shed Geek hoodie up here today. I've been so busy here lately, and definitely want to get those things sent out whenever you guys put in a request. I actually sent one to Keegan, or plan to, no cost, so you guys don't hurt me too bad on that. But maybe that's why I forgot, huh?
Yep.
I'll collect some money from you today. I sure won't forget then, will I? So, what does WEH mean to you guys? William, you kind of want to take the lead on that. Just kind of tell me. I mean, like I said before, some people may find out about you on the show. I knew your name, and it's been in for the industry for a long time. I've seen you at different trade events. They have such a positive aura around your name. So, I know the shed industry means a lot to you guys. You hear that just in the emotion from Bill. What does it mean to you? And, how does WEH meet the shed industry?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a lot like you in our discussion earlier about being a relationship, people kind of person. So over the years, being, in and out of the shops and learning, what started out as like owners of a company, and then it goes to their son, and now I'm, seeing some of their third generations come in and getting to know some of them. And, it's just been, I don't know, I can just think of a lot of things that, specifically relationships, that have meant a lot to me over the years. I've brought customers, like a customer and their wife and their newborn baby home from the hospital.
Oh, wow.
I've taken guys to their cabin for a weekend to go hunting because they needed a ride, or different things like that. And I think, like, at the end of the day, like, the business is awesome. Being blessed to have all this is amazing. But for me, it's the relationships that have been put before me. And that's those are the areas that I thrive and get energy off of.
Shane, you, I know me and you kind of meet at the place of multimedia a little bit. So you've done a little bit of that. Tell me a little bit about some of your background and your history and maybe what the shed industry has looked like for you and projections for WEH and, just places you want to go.
Sure. So my short history is that, I went to college. I studied supply chain, probably comes through in a lot of what I focus on for W.E.H. in my role. The multimedia background came from, I used to race off-road, got hurt, still wanted to go to the races, picked up a camera, and it evolved into every aspect of photos, videos, marketing, that sort of thing. It's been a very interesting life, and to be in a polar opposite marketing media world and then the shed industry, and my heart is in the shed industry fully. It is like we've talked about, a great industry, and just what we do here, and touch back on what Bill had said before was, why would we go show a cheaper window? And it's because we're going to treat you as we want to be treated, and we will work very hard for you. You'll find it very hard to find a company that'll outwork us for you, and we kind of live by that, and that's where our service comes from. What Bill had touched on about being a servant to our customers, our friends, those relationships.
That's cool, man. Keegan, what about you, man? What do you do here outside of harassing people who don't bring sweatshirts to you?
Well,
which, by the way, he hasn't at all. I'm just giving him a hard time.
So my background is came into the business probably about I was 12, 13 years old. My father runs the operations end of the business, so I came in, started sweeping floors. And just progressed from there. Sweeping floors at 13, started pulling screws to go with the shutters. And I remember the first year that I was big enough and strong enough to be able to wheel a bundle of windows onto a truck. So, just keep going from there. And I think it comes back to W.E.H. just being a family. Obviously we have our family here. There's 9 or 10 of us involved. But our employees have become an extension of our family. Our vendors have become an extension of our family. Our customers have become an extension of our family. So that's what W.E.H. means to me is bring that family into it all. Shane says nobody's going to work harder for you than us. That's because you're family.
Yeah.
You're always going to go above and beyond for your family members.
You guys do regular podcasts? Like everybody here knows, like you're all speaking well, and not to suggest that other guests haven't. I'm just saying you guys are very comfortable with speaking. Do you guys, that's got to come from a customer service perspective.
I think it comes from just, this is who we are. We're not putting on a front for anything. This is the truth. It's easy to speak the truth.
Amen.
I always said everybody's kind of got a meter inside built in to know if you're, selling them or being honest with them or whatever, and that meter kind of starts to go off. You just speak from a place of honesty and truth. I think people recognize it, and you guys are all well-spoken and just intelligent guys, motivated guys. I'm like, man, what a good group of guys to be in. So let's talk about product a little bit. William, we're looking at this, and this was around 2000, somewhere around in there. And we get to this 130 page. What's that journey been like? What has been surprising for you to see over the years that you've been here, going from there to here?
The variation and all the different products that we've tried to figure out for different customers. People had requests over the years that we tried to figure out a way to make it happen for them. I remember, I think it was like J&M Woodworks or somebody who was building these really elaborate, beautiful, fancy playhouses. And he needed, the people were taking it to levels of insulating and electricity and all this for a kid's playhouse. But the thing he was missing was that they wanted that home element of like a backyard patio kind of thing, but they needed a door, a sliding glass patio door, like the real deal, like a house, for that back wall to really finish the building. And so we figured out with our the company that we were working with at the time to manufacture like a 4-foot slider patio door, basically like house grade model, but miniaturized.
That's cool.
In a way that would fit in, a small world,
Yeah.
a kid's world. And, just finding those ways to make that kind of thing happen was pretty neat,
You touched on, in our previous conversation about being the creative. This industry we've, over the years, just the creativity from these builders has been incredible because we're going down new roads that have never been. Who built a shed with a 4-foot patio door? Who asked for it, before that time? No one. And what these guys come up with, and it's absolutely incredible.
Everybody has a bit of a sense of individuality, right? So, and we all like think we're unique. I mean, the word says that we are. It says we're all made individually. We're all made in His image, but we're all made, with our own song. So to me, I think that, shed customers are driving that train to try and get shed manufacturers to come out of their comfort zone to do something more maybe than a cookie cutter. Customization's huge, first of all, up here whenever I'm in Lancaster. And if I didn't learn already my lesson while I'm up here, it's not Lancaster, because y'all can certainly hear my southern drawl when I'm here. I know it's Lancaster or however you say it, but just bear with me. But, yeah, the creativity is what's driving them to just offer more customization, and you guys become that resource to be able to solve that problem for them.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was not always us bringing that piece as, like, I guess some of it was more having the request and then us being able to find it, source it, make it happen for them, figure out a way to make it happen for them. We brought an awful lot of items, but we've also been requested and asked about a lot. And like Shane said, sourcing that and, finding a way to represent the customer. There's people that start out as our customer, but now some of them were their vendors. We have a list of, 15 shops here in the county that we distribute product for.
This county, all over the country,
nationwide now.
Yeah, I'd about to say you guys are
ways.
Probably coast to coast.
But it started as Lancaster County.
Yeah.
But I know you've been working on project with.
Yeah, well, in a previous episode, you've interviewed Judd at Rapid Shells.
Yeah.
Or upcoming.
Judson Hibner, yeah.
We're, we work together. We distribute his product to the shed industry. We're excited about it. Something new and, built on efficiency. It works incredibly well. And we've been able to work together to get to a price point that, it can become a standard. And, we hope success for it for us, for Judd and Rapid Shelf and, all of our builders.
So the beauty is, while this episode's taking place, because we're several out in advance, that episode's getting ready to air, I think maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
So the beauty of that is, by the time you hear this, it's just a reminder to call the folks up here at WEH Supply or Judson Hibner to get some. What a cool idea! I mean, Judd's just like this really likable guy. I got to go down and meet him and Chad, and just the visual effect of seeing what he did with marketing, like setting on the shelf, holding a person's weight up like it is. But I mean, they were just like one of the kindest people, and I apologize to the audience for the audio on that. All we got was the video audio behind it, but hope you enjoyed the episode.
I've actually had the opportunity to pitch that product, the Rapid Shelf, to some dealer networks.
Okay.
And, one of the benefits that we saw when we were there and discovered is that oftentimes there's, these stock sheds sitting in a lot, and they have a loft in a building as an accessory, but not every shed has a loft. With Rapid Shelf, you can actually use the shelving like on the fly. Like you could add it to any building at any dealer's lot. So you wouldn't have to have lofts or workbenches or some of these items in every building, but every building, it could be added to. And it was a huge benefit that they wouldn't have to carry all that inventory, but they could have the product there ready to go, add it to a building if the customer's asking for it. Or it was pretty cool to see like the needs.
It's just the emergence of more things in the shed industry, whether it's a aftermarket purchase or whether it's a purchase that you can provide as a salesman. And I don't know how you guys work that into the sales process, if it's something the manufacturer includes. I'd imagine some people want to include that product in. Some maybe want to sell it after the fact. I don't know. You guys have to give me the details to it, but we talked about this off air. What's the first thing that happens whenever they leave your lot? They go look for stuff and accessories a lot of times to take care of their lot, right? You know, so why not just provide that solution? That's the growth of the industry, being able to get a solution for your customer before they leave. They can become your customer, which is more earnings, and you don't have to give that market share away to say the big box stores.
Finding out what the customer's going to do with that building from the point it's delivered to them is huge, knowing that up front, because you may have access to many of the items that they're going to go after. I'll use an example. We supply an exhaust fan, electric fan with wall louvers. And, I ran into a homeowner recently who purchased a building, and he was in the process of getting an electrician to come out and a carpenter to cut a hole in the building and add this fan after the fact, where the building could have been built with the fan and the louvers right up front and ready to go. So asking those questions and finding out, the uses of that building as a workshop or a garage or greenhouse or whatever.
Happens at the point of sale.
Yeah,
happens
up
at
front.
the point of sale. What? I know you deal with sales. Keegan, I'll ask you this question. If it's not best meant for you, kick it to whoever. But just curious, your thoughts on what would WEH's message be to the shed salesperson?
I'm going to have to defer this one over to Bill right away.
I thought that might be a William question.
So say the question again.
So what would your message be for WEH to the actual shed seller? They're trying to focus on product and product information.
Just like I was saying, but like ask those questions up front, really find out what the customer is looking for, what they're going to use that building for when it's finished. Are they going to insulate it? Are they going to add electrical packages? Are they going to, do they need cane bolts? Like something really simple, but like cane bolts to prop the doors open. So many buildings I see, they don't go out, they go out without cane bolts.
Yeah.
And adding cane bolts to those doors is huge. It's the wind blowing that door around that makes damage and costs you money, and a simple, added accessory to doors is an easy fix.
Do you guys provide like knowledge, or what knowledge would you provide to like your shed manufacturers with your products?
So we're working on a lot of different things right now to aid in that way. To kind of jump back and talk about the evolution of products, like you're looking at that first catalog and it was a flip open page, and it remained that for a long time. And in these recent years, just the rapid growth of the amount of products that the industry is using. And, we talk about the bumper, and the fact is there's eight to 10, same products do the same thing, but we have 8 versions of it. And they're all widely used. And we're pretty slow to add to our catalog because we're not going to jump in on anything that we wouldn't use ourselves. And it's, the education at the seller point, like Bill was saying, is important to capture those dollars as a dealer. And we're working on, a program how to help the dealers aid in selling those additional products. And then, and we have some products that, maybe are aimed at the dealers, and maybe they're, we're aiming at the manufacturers, and we can aid them in improving some, and stand out amongst their competition as well for a small figure, and it aids a lot in the industry. And the fact is, the industry, there's so much more willingness to have a superior product, and we're so proud to be a part of the industry and go out and see these buildings that these shops are building, and us be a small integral part of that. I know everybody here is so proud.
It makes it fun too, like to see those uses. And
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm in awe of, like, you talk about the amount of product. I mean, looking at that first brochure and just looking at your display wall here for, like, your hardware. I mean, tons of barrel bolts, T-handles, D-handles, different style hinges. I worked in purchasing, and that's kind of how I met the shed industry. I mean, I always knew about sheds that were, local. But as far as, like, understanding it a little bit farther, for the most part, we're wood and metal, and that pretty well covers most of what we do. Now, it seems like we're growing even beyond to different things that are hitting the industry. But purchasing was something that, for me, I took time procuring what we were looking to order, right? I think it's important. And a lot of guys wear, if you're a shed owner, manufacturer, you might wear a lot of hats. You might wear the hat of purchasing. You might wear the hat of delivery, builder, salesperson. It just depends on how vertically integrated I think you are with your company, or what the goal for it is to expand and how you want to expand. Some guys just get into shed building just because it's more what they do. It's not about why they do it. And when we talk about mission, vision, and values and things like that, I think it's important to know why you do what you do. I build sheds because my dad built sheds. What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about building those sheds? Are you passionate about selling sheds? Are you passionate about hauling sheds? Or do you do it for a paycheck or just because? I think all those things are important to try to meet people where they are. One thing that strikes me for sure is more product knowledge is needed. Yeah. I know as a salesman, we're guilty of trying to oversell the product, but you got to sell the product the right way and what it is too.
And find the missing elements as well. Like, I know one thing we've worked hard on over the years is, like, we have a new product, but then is there something else that ties into that or goes along with it? It's like with the rapid shelves right now. We also have another product called Shed Wall Organizer. We've seen a ton of DIY, like people trying to do it themselves, or the builder trying to do it for them. And so what we've come up with is the Shed Wall Organizer is basically a tongue groove. It's the Cadillac version of pegboard. Okay. But it backs a wall where you can, organize yard tools and bicycles and, all those different accessories, but you can organize your shed and make it look good, and it's nice and clean and easy to clean up. And
yeah, that's cool. All that stuff, and those are all in the.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Sure.
It almost looks like a shiplap.
Okay.
We've actually, I don't know if you remember at the Shed Expo, but the building that we had there actually was lined with the Shed Wall Organizer, which it looked like a shiplap. Yeah. It was real fancy and beautiful, but at the same time it was utility, or it had utility purposes. You could hang the baskets, or for like she sheds, or there was a lot of versatility in that product, and we've seen that grow, are really starting to grow right now.
Where do you feel like? Where do you guys feel like the shed industry? Anybody that wants to jump in here, feel free to. A lot of times I do a one-on-one interview, so this is nice having so many people to speak with. Where do you feel like it's heading? We talked early on about. Well, I mean, the first episode we're 100 plus episodes in now. The first one or the second one was Gideon Zook talking about how his dad said they were going to flood the market because there was 3 guys in 1973 building sheds. And then we see COVID and we see all these other things. Where do you feel like it's going? Because it just seems like this never-ending supposed bubble that's going to pop, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. What y'all's feelings as a supplier?
I think that we talked before is the industry is just broadening and bringing in a lot of maybe what was built previous as stick builders or on site, and they're able to do these in a manufacturing setting. It helps with some of the labor issues that the stick builders face out in the field. You're not building in elements and everything like that. But the evolution of the shops that you're talking about, going from a shed to shops building tiny homes and everything in between and outside, the willingness of the shops to step out and fill the needs of their customers and do new things. I just was at a shop the other day and they're building a demo, a first building that they've ever done, and experiment and expand, and the industry is full of it. And it's easy to think it's just a shed, but it's certainly not. It's
come a long way.
Where does it go from here? I think it doesn't stop. It's you can tell by our catalog that it's certainly not stopping yet. We're 128 pages above where we were 20 years ago. And
so many products in here. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the thing that gets me. As you thumb through it, I mean...
and dozens that aren't even in there.
Right. I mean, yeah, and I think this is a testimony to kind of like the growth of the shed industry.
I mean there's, PVC rail systems, lots of ventilation products.
And I think it comes back to the versatility of the industry. You could build a shed, make it as nice as your house. So when economic times are booming, people are dumping the money into their shed. They want it. Your HOA might even say, "Hey, it's got to match your house."
Yeah.
When the economy slows down and finances tighten up, it's just a shed.
Yeah.
You could go out and get a bare bones cookie cutter shed to meet your needs. So I think that versatility also plays into the industry. We can absorb some of those impacts and continue to push forward.
One thing we haven't, so we talked about service and our product line, but we do a lot of logistics. Like, that's one thing that makes us, I think, appealing to a lot of customers, how we can service people that way.
As our third generation looks to take over the business, we kind of got talking, where are we going, what's next, where can we continue to grow. I have a pretty heavy background in logistics and transportation, so we've decided this year we're going to launch a logistics business.
Nice.
Freight brokerage, transportation, whatever it might be, and how does that assist our customers? Maybe they have a load of lumber they're looking to move, or whatever it might be. I know we had a customer down in Texas. He had a mule, needed to get up here to Lancaster so Pine Hill Trailers could maintain it for him. Uh-huh. We arranged that transportation for him. We got it all the way up here. When they're done with the maintenance program, we're actually going to bring it back in-house and ship it out with their next outbound order.
Nice.
So it's just more efficient to move it that way. So as we look to continue to grow, I think that those are some avenues that we're looking, vertically integrate to assist everybody.
That's awesome, man.
And even aside of that, you work hard just to simply find good rates and, great shipping terms. And
Well,
times
yes,
and all that stuff.
certainly. We're not in business to make the trucking companies money.
Right.
We want to save our customers money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That value proposition goes a long way. If I can save you $100 on your freight, that's $100 you get to save. So,
Yeah, that's right.
that comes back to just the hard work that we try to put forward for our family, like we mentioned earlier.
What do you guys think makes you different? We just went through this through COVID. We saw some supply chain issues. I know that my guests or our listeners would probably ask me to push a little bit on the idea of like supply chain and being able to get that in front of customers. How did you guys feel through that, through the pandemic? Did you feel like you were able to keep up? Was it, just share your thoughts on it, on whatever.
I'm going to let Shane talk on that one.
Sure. Through all this and to touch, we try not to focus on what competition is doing. We're trying to maintain who we are and keep moving forward. But the supply chain issues, especially through all the tough times there, we found that the products that we manufacture, we own the supply chain on, we were able to grow and maintain significantly better than any others. And that kind of set our future in place, talking about the logistics thing and becoming a bit more vertically integrated and controlling the supply chain. We focus very hard, and we have a great group of vendors that we work with. And, through all these tough times, we were able to maintain an inventory for our existing customers, and we work very hard to we'll turn away business before we'll sell the windows out from underneath you. It speaks volumes to the companies that we work with domestically, internationally, that keep our supply chain strong. We're working on manufacturing more ourselves, doing the logistics, several other things in the works that, just kind of broaden the spectrum and make us a better W.E.H. to serve the customers.
Love what you guys do. Like I said, you're all well-spoken. Believe it or not, an hour just passed by real quick by having a simple conversation, and it does happen so fast. Man, I'd love to just continue to stay in touch with you guys, and who knows, maybe every 18 months or so we can come on and talk about new product or something, or address the industry in a new direction, a new way. I really love the idea of getting your history on here. Bill's such an awesome guy. Obviously, I can see that all of you look up to him and his leadership qualities and how that's been passed from generation, from one to the next. But just being here around you guys, extremely professional company is what I would try to convey to the listener. If listeners want to find out more about W.E.H. Supply, what's the best route for them to take?
Call us, talk to us. Our number can be found website, 717-336-4984, WEHsupply.com. But we like having the conversation with the customer. Let's talk, and we'll find out how we can best serve you. It's we have a broad spectrum of customers, and so it's not just we're not a one-trick pony here. We want to tailor the way we do business to you and what works best for you, and we'll work it out. I do want to say, we appreciate you and what your motivation is to better the shed industry and not just make money from the shed industry, and appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well, man. Sometimes you take a leap of faith and you step out on something, and I'll say this, and I don't know if this is a statement of arrogance or humility. I'll let you and the listeners be the judge, but I do believe that through some of the opportunities that's been provided, even just from the show, if it was a money grab or just going after money, I believe I could do that. But I really want to do, I love the freedom to travel, the freedom to go on the schedule, make your own schedule, the freedom for my wife to go with me. I mean, I really feel like she deserves it, yep. Fellas. I mean, I love that woman dearly. We've been with her since I was 15. I just want to enjoy time with her out here meeting more shed people and hearing their stories. And I feel like I can do that. Tyler Mahan said early on, rising tide lifts all boats. I just feel like, if I can do that, we all have competitors in the industry. We all deal with competition, and it's really hard to be in this industry and kind of be living in it and working in it and not have some kind of ties to someone here or there or somewhere. But I just try to put my heart out there on my sleeve, and every now and then it gets beat up maybe. But generally speaking, this industry respects it very well, and they take care of it. So for me, it's just put God first, and then take care of my family, and then take care of this industry in the best way that I know how. And that's having these conversations. And, just appreciate you guys as well. If someone wants to find out how to get the catalog, I'm sure just reach out to you by phone. Yeah. They can go on your website, email, and you guys can send that out. Go order some rapid shelves today, guys. Get a hold of W.E.H. or Judd and get some rapid shelves. What a cool product. And that's just one of the many in the 128-page catalog that they can choose from. Appreciate you guys as well. Means a lot that you'd sit down with me and have the conversation. I'm glad it came together.
Thank you.
And look forward to another conversation, maybe sometime down the road. We'll
absolutely.
see.
Yep.
I'm a fan of prayer here at the podcast. You guys care if we just pray over the industry?
Go ahead.
Let's go.
All
for
right.
it.
Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you just that you would cross paths, allow me to cross paths with these gentlemen today, seeing the leadership qualities that are here, seeing the professionalism that's here, and keeping you first in all that in a world that's tempted not to do that. We just thank you for that and ask that you can continue to guide them in that direction. We'd put you first in all that we do. We thank you for being in an industry that's where we're able to profess our faith, and that we can spread the gospel in every direction in which we go. I ask that you would steady our hearts and our courses and our minds, that you'd give us peace about all avenues that the industry touches, and that you'd keep our hearts right in all that we do. God, just thank you for these continued opportunities, and ask that we'll always keep you first in everything we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Appreciate you guys, for sure.
Thank you, Shannon.